topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the host and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Camping Show. I'm C.W. Getz.
And I'm Bianca Cahill.
Good evening. It is Wednesday, October 5th, 2022, and we have a 74-degree overcast skies here in Midwest. What is it? It's North Central Illinois. I remember where I live. Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Not Northwestern Illinois. Yes, North Central. But anyway, it was beautiful this morning. Nice, sunny and everything, and now it kind of just turned a little cloudy. I had to...
the sun's hiding now. It's going in for the day.
I actually had to ask Siri, what's the difference between cloudy and overcast? And I got a very accurate description of that from her. So, yeah, I was a little...
The overcast is a whole brush, a whole filter.
I was a little foggy on that. Pun intended. Yeah. Pun intended. Anyway, hey, I'm parting my hair now. You see this? A little different. I know you're 20-something and I'm 150-something, but yeah, it's like a little... I'm in
a little part. Oh my gosh.
I know. It's going back to the 70s.
You know what would help? You know what would help? If you took
if I had a different face. Yeah, probably.
One end and then you part the other end. You hold your little ends down with some bobby pins right there.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I may try that. I'm just in the process of growing my hair out. Yeah, I'm going to grow it down to my waist again, see what happens. Put in a big bun and ponytail and all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Maybe not.
Sure.
Tonight's episode of The Camping Show is brought to you by Campground Views, making camping easier.
And Rutabaga Paddle Sports, providing time on the water.
Tonight's episode is Equestrian Camping in the Western United States with our special guest, Robert Eversole. Could you tell us a little bit about Robert, please?
Absolutely. A veteran of the U.S. Marine Corps and PATH certified riding instructor, Robert, a.k.a. the TrailMeister Eversole, owns and operates the world's largest horse trail and horse camp guide at www.trailmeister.com. Internationally recognized clinician, keynote speaker, riding instructor, and author of the best-selling book, The ABCs of Trail Riding and Horse Camping. Robert coaches horses owners of various skill levels, how to better enjoy trail riding and camping with horses. He also shares his personal experience and explains processes that work and those which do not. Riding, camping, and packing across the continent for several decades, he's passionate about providing information to assist horse owners with overcoming fears about trail riding and horse camping. In his clinics, Robert places emphasis on practical horsemanship and outdoor skills training.
With that, welcome to the show, Robert.
To be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, welcome. I'm excited for this. I love horses.
A lot of people do until you have them.
Oh yeah, my fiance's grandpa has a couple of them, and once you get up close to them, they're just so majestic, but they're intimidating.
They are intimidating, and there are a lot of work involved in keeping them.
Oh yeah, I could never. It's a dream, but it's definitely a pipe dream. So tell me how you got started in trail riding and camping with horses. And, let's date back to your first encounter with horses.
Okay. Thanks for asking. I got involved with horses originally because of a woman.
I love it.
Yeah.
This always goes back to a woman.
Right. There's always a girl.
The coolest things, right?
No, I worked at a bank at the time, and I got voluntold. Everybody knows what voluntold is, or you really need to do this. So I got voluntold to do a check presentation at a local therapeutic riding facility, and one of the volunteers there, a willing volunteer there, I guess, was quite fetching. And I thought if I had a chance with her at all, I had to get involved with these 1,000-pound, smelly, very imposing creatures.
Wow.
So I did. And 24 years later, heavens, makes me feel old. We're still married.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
it.
Good for you. Good for
Yeah.
you. Congratulations on that. Yeah.
I love a good love story.
There you go. So that was how I got involved. And, it went from, volunteering at the therapy center to, buying a farm and our own horses,
Wow.
to joining a search and rescue team, to heavens, moving out west,
Nice.
volunteering with the Forest Service, writing a book, doing the clinician thing, writing for magazines. It has been a wild, wild road.
Now,
So
Robert, go ahead.
you
Go ahead.
just
Bianca.
you took for no pun intended, but you took the bull by the horns here. You didn't just get involved, just for the girl's sake, just to get an in with her, but you actually found a passion in it as well then.
I did. Well, like I said, I worked at a bank at the time, and let's face it, most anything is better than working at a banking institution. But yeah, I really jumped in the deep end. Found a really great place to be. I found that I really like working with horses and mules.
Yeah.
And even better than that, I like working with other people with horses and mules. A lot of people have horses. Not a lot of people. I think everybody that has a horse, when you get on board, you feel like you're Clint Eastwood or Annie Oakley. And I kind of want people to kind of wrap good things around those times, I guess. That's a really wordy way of me saying I like helping people.
Yeah, you want people to feel just as good as you do when you're riding a horse.
Exactly.
Robert, how many of those things that you mentioned were volunteered or voluntold? Just curious.
Oh, pretty much just the initial was the voluntold. The search and rescue was definitely volunteer. The therapy center was volunteer. Packing for the Forest Service is volunteer. Yeah, so I guess I shouldn't complain much about the voluntold part.
Since you mentioned that, I thought I have to tease you a little bit just because.
So, Robert, I have to ask, with all your volunteer work, which has been your favorite?
Working with the kids at the therapy centers.
Okay.
I have never seen anybody with a bigger smile on their face than a child or adult with challenges get up on a horse and ride for the first time. Some of the stories from the therapy centers will just make your heart cry. They're just fabulous. I love working with the kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Robert, since you first started, how have things changed?
Well, a lot. We moved from Ohio to the Western U.S. to first Seattle and Washington State, now Spokane. Washington is a lot different from Ohio. For before I could stand in the bed of my pickup truck and be the tallest thing in the state. Now I ride the high country and I can throw snowballs at my wife any day of the year. So of course, you temper that high country with a really short riding season. I mean, our winters end very, very late and they come back very, very early. And in that short time in between, we have wildfires to worry about.
Yeah, right, for sure.
But yeah, it's changed a lot. Horses and the mules. I moved from horses to mules. I love those sexy long ears, I guess. Those have changed. I mean, they've been the same things for millennia, I guess. Yeah. The riding and the camping out here is a lot different from back home on the east side of the Mississippi. A lot of the areas that we go to, of course, are a lot different. So there's a lot of differences here. Not that any one side of the continent is better than the other. That every place has their special points, but yeah, it's a lot different.
Bianca's going to ask you about the different logistics of that, but I'm curious: has equipment changed? Techniques changed? Anything like that?
No,
Okay.
not to any great extent. I mean, the saddle for horses, that evolved with heavens, with Genghis Khan back in the day, and they really haven't changed a lot. I mean, you have English, you have Western, you have different styles, different flavors, but the vast majority of the tack, saddles, bits, bridles, stuff like
Yeah.
that, most of those are all the same. The equine world is kind of steeped in the 1870s, and I don't think they want to leave.
Yeah.
Even though Gore-Tex is great, you don't see a lot of it in the equine world. Sometimes I think I'm about the only person wearing, synthetics and helmets, when I'm on the horse.
Yeah.
I don't wear this hat, for example, when I'm on the beast. I wear a helmet.
Do you?
I do.
Wow.
I do. Traumatic brain injuries are a real thing, and it's a scary world up there when you're 8 feet above the ground. I want to do everything I can to protect myself.
Yeah, I agree. And not just falling, you never know what's, in your path as far as tree branches go, things that you might not necessarily be paying attention to. Accidents happen. You can bump into something. It's definitely possible.
They never had those on Gunsmoke. I'm just making a note.
But they look so much cooler on Gunsmoke.
Absolutely. I can't picture John Wayne in a helmet. I just
neither can I.
Yeah, or Clint Eastwood for that matter, of course.
Not a bit.
I'm sorry, Bianca. You go ahead.
No. So tell me about equestrian camping. So let's. As far as that goes, as far as the camping goes, not just necessarily the trails that are the difference between the Midwest and the West, for example. What about camping, and how would that differ?
Okay, so and that it really is a linear stretch of dirt in the forest or in the field is the same regardless of where you're at. Footing, the trail tread may be different, but camping is so much different out here than it is, again, on the east side of the continent. When you go east, so when I go back home to Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, most of the equine campgrounds, they're organized campgrounds. In that, you've got a circle through a delineated area, and this is where the horse people stay. Where the further west you go, we have such vast expanses of federal land, capital W wilderness. That means capital W. Wilderness areas where you can really get beyond those established campgrounds, I guess. Mm-hmm. So, for example, this past summer, man, it's 70 degrees when I'm saying past summer. That's wrong.
I know it hurts to say that, doesn't it?
It does. It does. So, a month and a half ago,
yeah,
there you go.
I took my wife into the Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex in central Montana, the largest wilderness complex or contiguous wilderness complex in the lower 48, 1.5 million acres. So twice the size of Rhode Island, no roads. So you can get an idea of how big it is. Wow. And there's a place there called the Chinese Wall. It's a 2-day ride in, so it takes 2 days to get there. And, when you're underneath it, it's 1,000 feet escarpment that just towers above you. It's spectacular. There's no place that I know east of the Mississippi where it would take you a solid 2 days to get there. We just don't have that kind of land on the east side. And for me, when I fly again back home, I'm cheap. So I typically get the red eye flights, but you can really see the difference when you're flying at night, because on the west side of the continent, the ground is just pitch black. There are no electric lights on the ground. But the further east you go, you start seeing a lot more lights, which is more urbanized areas. Does that make sense? And
Yes.
it's just a different feel on the west side of the continent and in the western states. We can get out and get far beyond.
Yeah. What would you say about the accessibility of equestrian camping versus where we are?
I'd say it's equal to. I mean, it's just different types of places. Access is always a challenge, I think, because equine camping requires more than pulling into a spot with a tent. I mean, you've got the horses, you've got the trailers hauling the horses, all that good stuff. So access is always kind of a challenge.
Yeah.
Again, on the west, since we have those huge expanses of federal land, a lot of times here and some of the places I really like to go, I go to the end of the road and find a wide spot and pull over and head in from there, as opposed you don't do that in Ohio.
Yeah, right.
All right, we're going to take a break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the Camping Show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV. Stay tuned after these messages.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground View's virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sites, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground View's virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutobaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on The Camping Show.
And we're back with our guest, Robert Eversole, here on The Camping Show. Robert, could you walk us through a typical day of trail riding and camping, if you wouldn't mind?
I can do that. I lived a lot of those days through the summer months, and it's really not a lot different than when you're canoeing or hiking. The big difference is that a canoe doesn't require lots of maintenance and feeding and care like a horse or a mule does.
Unless you whack into a big boulder, and then it does take a little bit of that.
Fair enough. I hadn't thought about that.
It happens.
Yeah. So it depends upon what type of camping I'm doing. I do a fair bit of volunteer work. So if I'm hauling trail crew into a remote area, my days are pretty darn early. Getting up, grooming the mules, grooming the horses, getting them fed. I mean, I eat breakfast before I head out. They want breakfast as well. And then loading them up.
Who gets breakfast first, you or the horses?
The horses.
That's the way I was always raised too. Yeah, feed the animals first, and then you fill your own belly.
Yeah, they eat better, and I got to tell you, my mules have better health and dental care than I ever have.
I've seen that too. I have seen that. Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, so once the critters get fed and they're squared away, then I put their work clothes on. Get them saddled up. Get them tacked up, load their cargo for the day, and then we head in. And when we're not working or going from point A to point B, I really look at my horses and mules as my mobility device, I guess. They're what keeps me from having to walk, and being of that older demographic.
Yep.
I like that.
Yeah, right. Funny. That is funny.
Tell us about the volunteer work you do in regards to maintaining the trails.
So I like the whole idea of giving back, if you will. And our public land managers, our forest and for National Forest Service, U.S. Forest Service, where I predominantly ride and camp, they don't have either the staff or the funding to maintain trails. They just don't have it. And if volunteers didn't come together to clear trails, access into the back country, the high country, would be gone for everybody.
Oh yeah.
So by me, I really dislike digging in the dirt. I'll be the first to admit it.
Okay.
But I'll haul camp and tools for anybody that wants.
Yeah, right.
So if I can get together and provide packing support, transport support for a local hiking club, bicycle club, what have you, I think it's a win for all involved. We open the trails, for more people to enjoy them, get more people out of urban areas into the wilderness to enjoy it, and it clears the trails for me too. It's a win-win all around.
You're talking about that. It's the same thing for canoeists too, because I have been involved in this before. I don't do it regularly because the opportunity for me is not there, but we do go river cleanup, that sort of thing. Just like you maintain trails on land, we've done the same with the rivers and kind of extracting a lot of junk out of the rivers for obvious reasons. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, we all give back. And I think it's important. It's certainly a bright spot, for me to help,
maintain.
Yeah, help maintain, help more people get out.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this. What are the biggest challenges? I mean, aside from what you just mentioned, what are the biggest challenges that equestrian campers face these days?
I would say it goes back to that whole access thing that we touched on earlier. Equestrian access requires a different level of access than hikers or bicyclists or canoeists. Think about the horse trailers that we're hauling behind the pickup trucks. That requires a good chunk of turnaround area. Let alone, I think we all have to admit, especially on the pony side, that horses are a high impact activity. 1,000 pounds on feet that are that big, they do leave some impact.
You put 1,000 pounds. Well, okay, wait a minute. So the horse weighs, so what does your horses weigh?
Marine math says 1,000 pounds. So 250 pounds per hoof.
I was just okay. So how much weight do you? What's the maximum weight you load your horses up with? People, supplies, and both, I guess you'd say.
That's a great question, and I love my girls, and so I don't load them heavy at all. About the max that I load on any of my girls at any one time is about 150 pounds of cargo.
Oh wow!
Okay. So
you are nice, because I've heard 200 pounds. Other people say that, and I'm like, okay, that's
well, 200 pounds is legit.
Yeah.
And they're carrying about 200 pounds after you foot in how much their tack weighs. So their pack saddle, all that good stuff, that is going to total about 50 pounds.
Yeah.
And so they're hauling about 200 pounds total. Now, granted, a lot of outfitters, other people, they're going to load their critters heavier, but maybe they have bigger mules.
Okay.
My girls, I think we're going to share some pictures of them in a little bit, but
Yes.
I have little horses and mules. I don't like that long.
They're
fall to the
dainty.
ground.
They're
You're not-
dainty.
That's
You're not
right.
riding.
We're very well
Horse
maintained,
there.
very taken care of. I love it. All right. We'll be right back with some pictures of all of Robert's beautiful horses. We're going to take a little break. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more of the camping show on W4CY Radio and Talk 4 TV after these messages. Be right back.
It is time to go camping. Introducing Campground Views virtual tours. You can tour the campground, see the sights, see if they are available, and click to book your perfect spot. Hit the open road and explore the amazing places found in nature. We make it easy to discover, find, and book your site so that you can go have the fun and freedom you seek. Campground Views virtual tours make it easy and simple for you to see where you are going.
A few years ago, someone asked Rutabaga's owner, Darren Bush, "Hey, how long have you guys been selling boats?" Darren replied, "We don't sell boats. We sell time on the water." Of course, that comes in all types. We help people paddle more safely with Rutabaga outdoor programs. We rent canoes, kayaks, and stand-up paddleboards. We sell and install racks to get you from home to adventure. Rutobaga's got everything you need to get you out on the water, like paddles, life jackets, dry bags, and clothing. Rutabaga Paddle Sports, on the web at rutabaga.com. Mention you saw this ad on the camping show.
And we're back with our guest, Robert Eversole, here on the Camp Show. Juan, we've got some pictures from Robert. If you could put those up on the screen, he'll tell us a little bit about those.
The helmet. You won't mistake that guy for Clint Eastwood or John Wayne.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's me in the Bob Marshall Wilderness Complex in Montana. A few years ago, I don't have that horse anymore, but boy, he was a looker. On that particular trip, we we hauling glass for a work group that was reglazing a fire lookout.
Wow.
So I always like to tell that story because when you talk about hauling fragile things, I'll show you my Italian at the moment.
Yeah.
It sounds really nifty, but glass is really one of the easiest loads to haul because it's in big bricks. It's not a single pane.
Oh, yeah, sure. Interesting.
And behind me is my wife's little horse. And I affectionately call her horse the circus pony.
Now, why do you do that? Why is that?
Because it annoys people.
Because it's there. I like that.
Exactly.
That. Right. That's funny. That's funny.
So yeah.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So this is go ahead.
Robert, where exactly are you located? And where was this picture taken to? Two questions.
There you go. I live in Spokane, Washington. So
Okay.
the east side of Washington, right on the Idaho border.
Okay.
This is in the Pasayten Wilderness in north central Washington,
Okay.
looking south. If you look north, you'd see the great clearing that is the U.S.-Canadian border.
Oh, nice.
Beautiful.
So and I'm on my good boy mule Ruger, and that's Ellie behind me hauling in. I think this was probably just a camping trip. You can see on the mountainside behind us where it's all brown. So a wildfire went through there not too many years prior to.
Okay.
Yeah. When I tell people I live in Washington, everybody thinks it's wet, like Sleepless in Seattle.
Yeah, right.
Most of Washington is high desert, believe it or not.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
got a
And very mountainous.
I got to ask you about this, Robert.
Yeah.
Sorry to walk over you, Bianca. Okay, so those those are square. They look like they're square.
They are.
That's interesting that they don't have. I guess you wouldn't need like an ergonomic pack or what do I want to say? Yeah, because you're not going 100 miles an hour. Aerodynamic. That's the word I was thinking. But
Yeah.
you don't need any of that, right? It's not a concern.
Not at all, really. The average speed for horseback and especially packing is 3 miles an hour.
I guess what I'm thinking is when you like those square corners, they ever get hooked up or caught on anything, branches and things, or that's never a concern, is it?
Oh, it is a concern.
It is. Okay.
It is. And when you're first teaching a horse or a mule to pack, to carry these loads,
Yeah.
they have to learn that all of a sudden they're three feet wider than they were before.
Oh yeah.
Before the boxes went on.
I'm just wondering if there were rounded tops or whatever that would be less of an issue for snagging on things.
I don't know, but all the plastic boxes and I always run bear-proof canisters as well because bears are a thing. I don't want to feed bears are a thing, but it's more the mini bears, the chipmunks and the raccoons that I worry about.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
They all come in these sizes, but they are kind of ergonomically shaped though. You can't really see from the picture, but the inside is kind of a convex shape. So that kind of goes around the critter's chest.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Then.
Yeah. But, and my newest girl mule, this is Coco.
Oh,
she is
beautiful.
She is wee tiny. And she is the first mule that I trained from the very beginning. So, yeah, when I first got her, she was cute and she knew it. And her only job was to be cute and to eat apples. And she was very, very good at that.
Yeah, they're good at eating.
And so now I'm training her so that my nieces and nephews can have a critter when they come out. This is my bribe to my East Coast family to come out and visit us so that I can give their kids pony rides.
Very cool. All right, I'm going to ask you a question. Why don't you have the big stickers you horse guys on your helmets like the climbers and the whitewater kayakers do? The big decals up there.
And I can't say that I haven't done that.
No, do you have?
I have.
I just didn't see any. I'm thinking, really, these horse people, they don't get into those helmet stickers and decals like that.
I had some. My new helmet has like a Cordura cover on it, so it's not smooth plastic. When I had a smooth plastic one, I put stickers all over it.
Yeah, there you go.
People looked at me funny anyway, so
let them hurt.
This is prior to me getting Giardia.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this is in the Bob Marshall. My wife, that's me in the far background, dipping water into a bucket, and Ruger, drinking his fill. I always filter my water in the backcountry, and I'm sure you do with the canoes, because Giardia is just not pleasant.
No, and I've had that once. And let me just ask you: do you use a product called a SteriPen?
I do not.
Okay, have you ever heard of it?
I have.
They are awesome. They are totally awesome.
They are awesome. Here, it would have worked great. Some of the areas that I go have the water is a bit murky, and they really rely on that water clarity for the UV to
filter comes in first, and then you have your SteriPen, of course.
But yeah. So even though I was using the filter, you splash water in your face to get the trail dust and stuff off, and I guess it just the Giardia Assist just got me at the right time.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty picture in the middle of the Bob. This was at a place called Grizzly Gulch, and we did not see one. Thank heavens.
All right. Wow.
And this is part of the Chinese Wall. Riding underneath it. It's like I said earlier, it's 1,000-foot escarpment that just rises up. It's so big that you can see it when you're flying 6 miles up. It stands out.
Man, when you get to do this every day and just be in it every day and the views. I mean, what more could you want?
You can't.
I'm telling you, that is like the highest quality of life right there.
Yeah. I mean, this is my office in the summer. It doesn't get better than this.
That's pretty cool. And you don't have to worry about I'm sure there are snakes out there, but really, I mean, is that a big concern in places like that?
It is not, simply because where we're at elevation, you don't really run into snakes.
Okay. I thought
now, if I were to go down to Utah, Arizona, whole different thing, which is why I don't go down there, because I'm scared of snakes and spiders.
And horses do not like snakes. I know that for a fact.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know that mine have seen them. So
yeah, we had snakes here when I was growing up, and I had horses, and it was not a pleasant mix.
Oh, yeah. If I saw a snake out here on the trail, you would hear me there in Illinois.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah. I learned my lesson the hard way, but yeah.
Wow.
And this is lunch.
Nice.
Under the wall.
Nice. You know, what's the blue thing? What are we looking at there?
The blue thing right in front of my feet, that's my camp stool.
Oh, okay.
And then off to the right of my feet is the tent, and then beyond is the high line with the horses. With horses, unlike a canoe, they're not going to wander off on their own. I think of the horses and the mules as toddlers. They will wander and cause mischievousness if not attended to. So when we're not working and I'm not, have eyeballs on them, they go on what we call a high line, which kind of keeps them contained and out of trouble.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And that's, of course, the wall towering above.
You know what? That's like a rock climber's dream right there.
I think it would be.
I mean, depending on what kind of rock it is, but
yeah, I think that would be the berries. If I weren't afraid of heights, I probably would have tried.
Love it.
Snake, spiders, and heights.
Yeah, love it.
Clear skies, just perfect.
And here with Ruger and looks like Ellie behind. Look, Ellie is not laden, so coming back from hauling trail.
Yeah.
And with the cold weather gear now.
I see that. I mean, yeah. I mean, what's the lowest temp you guys usually ride in? Or does
I'm a lightweight. If it's snowing, I'm gonna go inside and call it good for the most part if I can. I mean, that being said, in Montana this year we had frost one night.
Yeah.
I've been in the Pasayten that we looked at the picture before in the middle of August, and we had 2 inches of snow one day.
Interesting.
It's all about the elevation out here, and the higher you go, the colder it gets. Okay. So my puffy jacket goes with me no matter when we go, just for that snap of cold.
Yeah.
So it's cold.
Up there in the mountains.
Yeah. And here, a clinic, teaching people how to, it looks like setting up a high line for the horses. I think a lot of people are intimidated by rope work and knots. And, anytime you're around horses, you're going to be around ropes and 1,000-pound animals. So it really pays to be able to know a few knots. Just like on the boat side, we're around ropes and knots. It's a good handy thing instead of using patented gadgets and gizmos. So yeah, and a fabulous picture of me doing a pack class.
Cool, I like that.
Yeah, and this is the example of pack saddle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
This is what all the loads get tied onto. And since Ellie and Coco and Minnie and Ruger have terrible indoor manners, when I'm doing a pack class inside, I call it my iron mule.
The iron horse, iron mule. I like that.
Yeah.
One that behaves.
It behaves and won't leave a mess on the floor inside.
Yeah. Does what it's told.
Interesting. They don't make horse diapers, do they?
Not except in cities.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful
That
picture.
looks like out of a movie.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
And again, this is my office in the summer. This is the Pacific Crest Trail. You've heard of that. It runs from Mexico to Canada along that Pacific Crest Ridge of mountains, and that's Mount Rainier in the background.
Wow. That's very cool. Beautiful.
Very cool. And when you camp in this spot
Beautiful.
on the Crest Trail at nighttime, when it's clear, you can see the headlamps of the climbers that are summiting the mountain, because they leave camp early in the morning, when it like 2-3 in the morning, so that they can make summit by daybreak and then head back down. So you can see these tiny little pinpricks of light from their headlamps as they ascend the mountain at night. It's fabulous.
Cool.
And I had to plug the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what, that's part of what we're here for, man. We want to get you help you sell books.
So cool.
So last year was a very eventful year. My summer ended on July 3rd. I was in the Bob Marshall, and there's a river crossing. I was going to a place called Pretty Prairie. The name is quite fitting. And there's a river crossing, and Ruger and I didn't quite make it across. He tripped and stumbled in the river, and we got washed downstream a little ways. And then I waited about 3.5 hours for the helicopter to come pick me up.
Oh, wow.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So I had all summer to write my book.
Yeah, right.
As my foot was propped up on pillows with ice.
Apparently that was meant to be. I mean, it wouldn't have happened, right?
You know,
Look at it like that. Yeah.
It would not have happened otherwise, but you know, all the pins and things holding the ankle together were not pleasant either.
No, I'm sure.
Oh.
But yeah, you make lemonade, you know, when you get lemons.
Well, they say all things work for the good, right?
There you go.
Yep.
Again, in the Bob. And this is just a good example of some of the trail tread that we have out there.
Horses ever get weird about going like to the edge, like something like that, or no?
You know, they've got 4-wheel drive. They're much better about it than I. Remember, I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah.
So I look at that uphill shoulder and think happy thoughts, and sing It's a Bitchy Spider very, very poorly until we get through those
happy
spots.
thoughts. Look down, think happy thoughts, maybe say a little prayer.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, that's a long way down to the water.
Gosh, yeah.
Sure.
Me at a clinic acting a fool with local media.
Awesome.
You know, doing the expos is such a hoot. You know, you get to talk with thousands of people from just all over that come to want to talk about horses of all disciplines and trail riding and camping.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, when you get mic'd up for sound and you get to talk to a group of, 10, 15,000 people in a giant arena, what an ego boost.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. That's a rock star.
It makes you feel like it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The wall in the morning. And this is not Photoshopped.
That's cool.
I'm not smart enough to Photoshop, actually.
Very cool.
But yeah, in the morning when the sun is just working its way down the mountain, that golden hour that photographers love. Yeah, that's the Chinese wall. There you go. There you go. Fabulous trip.
Now I know where to go in Washington. I always told myself I wanted to go to Washington. I've just seen so much over social media, but I, just never know the place. Now I'll just camp near that wall.
There you go. There you go. And me and my boy Mule Ruger.
Oh, cutie.
Yeah, he's my guy. Even though he has sent me to the hospital a couple times, he's my guy.
You gotta love a horse when he sends you to the hospital. You really still are affectionate to it.
Yeah, well, the first time we got into bees and like ground wasps.
Yeah.
If I got stung by a wasp, I would jump. I can't blame him for doing the same. And let's face it, when we ride, we're just poorly secured cargo.
Yeah. Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then last summer, of course, I should have been wearing my waders or something, my floaties.
Yeah, right. Robert, tell us about TrailMeister.com, if you would.
Oh, TrailMeister. So It's my website. And the Meister is because TrailMeister, the domain name was already taken. So I had to go with the German spelling.
That was a second choice. I love it.
Yeah. So, I got into horses and the whole horse riding camping thing when we were still in Ohio. And I got into the camping side because the search and rescue team that we served with, they like to camp. And I wanted to have a beer around the campfire with them. So you can't drink and drive. So I've had to figure out this horse camping thing so I could have a beer around a campfire.
Interesting.
Honest story. And so, but when we're hauling horses, we've got the trailer pulling the horses behind the truck. And besides heights, snakes, and spiders, I have angst about being able to back this giant trailer up. And so when we first started going, you get tired of going to the same place. You don't want to canoe in the same, river every time. You don't want to hike the same trail every time. I didn't want to ride my horses at the same park every time. Mm-hmm. But I felt almost obligated to drive the car to see how scary the parking was going to be. Mm. So I thought other people might have the same issues. And so I bought a book called HTML for Dummies and bought a domain, and that's how it started. Heavens, 15 years ago at this point. Wow. And so it kind of grew from there. I don't wake up in the morning saying, "Hooray, I'm going to code HTML." So I actually have crew that do the coding now. Thank heavens for that. But yeah, it's the world's largest guide, and it's really just a directory, of horse trails and camps across the US and Canada.
Interesting.
And there's lots of other stuff on there besides just the directory. There's reprints of my magazine columns, videos. I'm trying to learn how to do the video thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, TrailMeister.com.
Real quickly,
TrailMeister wasn't available.
Yeah. Well, real quickly, because we're running down on time here, but I just want to ask you, like, your classes, like when do you offer them, a frequency? How long are they? And do they, or things like that? Just quickly.
Real quickly, on the expo side, the classes are 50 minutes long, which, it turns out into an hour, set up, tear down time. Mm-hmm. But there's classes, everything about, what to carry when you're trail riding. I don't know if you've heard of the 10 essentials. It's a mountaineering type thing. The 10 systems or tools in case you have unexpected layover and overnight. Everything from that to first, I'm kind of the safety guy, I guess. I don't teach people how to ride horses. That's not my thing. Right. But how to have a better time.
It's a good, yeah.
Yeah, things to consider, when you're camping with horses, what to take, what to do. How to find that perfect place, how to set up high lines like we saw. Yeah. And then I also do like weekend clinics with search and rescue teams still, where we talk about land navigation, how to use that map and compass, so that type of thing. Last year, we started doing cinch making clinics. Cinches are like the belt that holds a horse's saddle on. So I'm helping people make their gear for horse riding.
Now, these classes are available only at like expos, or do you do private classes and things like that as well?
Expos and private classes.
Okay, so they can come out and fly out to see you, and you make arrangements for that, and they spend
exactly, like or fly me in to see them.
Oh, okay. Either way, that's nice.
Either way, yeah,
it's very cool.
Yeah, so I tried the Zoom thing, and it's just different. Because you got to have the critters,
Well, yeah,
you got to have that interaction.
It's like learning how to do martial arts over, the web. I don't think that would be possible. Right?
Or me trying to learn how to play the guitar from YouTube. It just
you know what? I learned banjo that way. I learned some banjo.
Did.
Yeah, it does. It does work, but
it does work.
I mean, I still suck, but
Well, if you don't already know, all the listeners and viewers, next show, CW is going to teach a crash course on banjo.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah, absolutely not.
Get your banjos out.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't know what to say after that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, we'd like to thank you, Robert, for being a guest on the Camping Show. It was a pleasure having you on this evening. Thanks so much.
It was a joy and a pleasure to be here. Thank you both.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Before we Before we do that, where can our audience learn more about TrailMeister.com and to sign up for clinics?
TrailMeister.com. TrailMeister.com, the German spelling.
And do you have like social media pages or anything like that? Or is it
Facebook. Just pull up TrailMeister on Facebook. I almost said the Facebook. That's how you know I am old.
Yeah, right.
Love it.
You know, it's interesting because I didn't get those social media links from you, but I was going to tag you in our promo, and I saw several TrailMeisters, but those are all you, or is there one specific one that?
There's just the TrailMeister there. Well, I have my personal page, Robert TrailMeister Eversole, and then the TrailMeister.
I didn't try that one. I didn't try that one. That's interesting. And this is Facebook or Instagram or both?
Facebook. I have an Instagram account, but there's only one of me.
You know what? That's what I was trying was Instagram, so that's why I wasn't successful.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah. Well, and thank you for being here tonight, Robert, with us. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thanks again. It was a hoot.
Absolutely. And we'd also like to thank each of our sponsors for bringing you tonight's show, Campground Views and Rutabaga Paddle Sports.
Be sure to tune in for next week's episode. What does a West Virginia whitewater guide do after the summer months with our special guest, Allison Wyatt? And it won't be me doing banjo, by the way. So just wanted to throw that out there. No real banjo.
Maybe. I'll get something in the works for you guys. Just wait. Until then, I'm Bianca Cahue, reminding you, learn more and do more. Good night, everyone.
See you next week.